There is an entire universe contained in the brief interval between the last dream and the first conscious thought of the day. It is a sacred space, a virgin territory in your mind, where the agitation of the world has not yet stained its flag. The first sensations, the first whispers we allow within us, are not just the preface to the beginning day. They are the clay with which we shape the next 16 hours. If we began our daily journey by plunging headlong into the turbulent river of obligations, digital notifications and worries that they waited patiently by the bed, it is inevitable that this current drags us up to dusk, leaving us exhausted, fragmented, and with the feeling we live for others, not for ourselves. However, if we choose with deliberate intention to protect this moment of rebirth, if we chose to fill it quietly, self-awareness, and the wisdom of silence, we not only begin the day, we consecrate it. Ancestral wisdom, shared by several philosophies around the globe, teaches us that the morning is not a race but a ritual. It is the time to tune the instrument of our own conscience. In this meeting, we will explore 7 keys together that open the portals for a morning of deep serenity. 7 practices that serve as an anchor for your soul, allowing you to navigate the sometimes turbulent waters of life with more grace, balance, and an unshakable inner peace. First key, the conscious awakening sanctuary. Feeling the first signs of the waking, resist the almost instinctive impulse to move, to open your eyes abruptly, to check the time. Instead, turn your bed into a sanctuary. Remain motionless for a few moments, becoming an explorer of your own inner universe. Feel the gravity kindly holding your body, the texture of the sheets against your skin, the subtle weight of its members resting. This is not an act of laziness, but an act of deep intelligence and respect for yourself. It is a recognition that you are not a machine that simply binds yourself to the touch of a button, but a living being that gracefully moves between worlds. The dream world and the world of reality awakens. Take a deep breath, not with effort, but with genuine curiosity. Feel like the air, this invisible and constant gift, enters your nostrils, walks away to your lungs, expanding your chest, and then retreating, taking with it the remnants of the night. This initial break, this moment of communion with the simple fact of being alive, is the first and most powerful foundation of a serene day. Modern society has conditioned us to associate the awakening with a shrill alarm, in a hurry, with a mental list of tasks that already starts to scream even before our feet touch the floor. Conscious awakening is a revolutionary act of rebellion against this tyranny of urgency. It is a silent statement to yourself. My well-being comes first. My inner peace is not negotiable. Let's start this day with intention, not with reaction. This lightness you cultivate in the first moments is an emotional capital that will accompany you all day, no matter what the magnitude of the challenges that await it, whether tense meetings, tight deadlines, or personal dilemmas. If your first minutes have been anchored in consciousness, you have built an internal refuge for which you can always return. You are no longer a leaf in the wind, dragged by the external circumstances, and becomes the tree with deep roots in the presence itself, able to swing with the wind without breaking. Awakening in a state of silence and gratitude opens the hearts of the heart. Even in the darkest periods of life, when the future looks uncertain and the past weighs, this initial moment can be its lighthouse. Instead of seeking refuge in the cold light of a cell phone screen, diving into the anxiety of others, or the empty comparison of social networks, turn to the light within you. Feel the life force that pulsates in your body, the silent resilience that allowed you to wake up to another day. It is these tiny, intimate rituals that carry the deepest wisdom. Each gesture, when executed with full attention, becomes a moving meditation. Feeling the floor temperature under your feet when you get up, observe the way the morning light draws shadows in the room, listening to the distant sounds of your house or the street awakening slowly. All of this is part of the symphony of Agora. The practice of awakening with conscience does not require a time that you do not have. 5 minutes dedicated to this soft transition are infinitely more valuable than 30 minutes of a hasty and chaotic awakening. The secret lies in the quality of your attention, not the duration of the act. By allowing the mind to slow down before you even engage with the world, you clean it, organize it, and allow the heart to open to the possibility of a new beginning, a beginning with more harmony and clarity. This is living with practical wisdom without adding unnecessary complexity to existence. The philosophy of full attention recalls us that the present is the only reality we have, and the moment of awakening is one of the most precious gifts that life offers us every 24 hours. He dictates the melody of his journey. If the song begins with "in a hurry" and dissonance, this noisy melody will echo for the rest of the day. But if it begins with the harmony of the presence, then every subsequent moment will have the potential to be lived with more depth and meaning. This is not a magic formula, but a daily practice, a conscious choice. Perhaps you are going through a phase of immense difficulty, full of uncertainties and trials. Even in these times, and perhaps especially in them, awakening with conscience is an act of power and self-pity. It's a kind but firm reminder that you are here alive, and that every new day is a blank page, an opportunity to start over. Second key, sacred hydration, the first food of the soul. Once you have inhabited the sanctuary of your awakening, honoring the first moments with the stillness of your presence, the next natural step is the first act of nutrition. And before any solid food, even before the scent of coffee or tea, there is a primordial element that your body and soul yearn: water. This gesture, often carried out automatically and hurriedly, hides immense transformative potential when executed with the same consciousness you cultivated upon awakening. Bringing the first glass of water from day to mouth is not just about physical hydration. It is a ritual of purification, a symbolic baptism that washes the remnants of the night and prepares the inner ground for the flowering of the day. Treat this moment with the reverence it deserves. When driving to get a glass, walk with intention. Feel the contact of your feet with the floor. Note the morning light that may be filtered through the kitchen window. Every detail is part of the ceremony. When filling the glass, listen to the melodious sound of water, a song that nature has been composed for millennia. Feel the glass temperature in your hands, your solidity, your transparency. The liquid contained there is a mirror of the state we seek: clear, fluid, adaptable, and essential to life. Before you give the first sip, take a break. Just note, look at the water as if you've never seen it before. Recognize the miracle that is to have access to this vital resource so easily. This simple act of recognition plants a seed of gratitude that can color your entire day. So drink. But do not drink to quench the thirst mechanically. Drink to nourish each cell of your body. Feel the fresh or warm liquid touching your lips, sliding down your tongue, slowly down your throat, and starting your journey throughout your being. Try to mentally follow this trip, visualizing the water purifying, moisturizing, and awakening each organ, each fabric. At this moment, there is nothing more to be done, no place to go, no problem to be solved. There is only you, the glass and the water, in a perfect communion. By bringing your mind completely to this act, you perform a powerful alchemy. It transforms a physiological need into a deep meditation. The thoughts that could be running toward the future or brooding the past are kindly invited to still. The mind, often a hectic sea, finds a moment of calm in the simplicity of this gesture. It may seem like an insignificant detail in the midst of the complexity of life, but it is precisely in these details that the mastery of serenity is forged. It is the discrete practices, repeated with intention and affection, that build an inner fortress. The water, which was once just a detail of the routine, becomes an ally, a silent master. The body, which is so often ignored or pushed beyond its limits, is honored and respected. And the mind, once dispersed and reactive, learns to find rest at the present moment. It's not about adding one more task to your list, but of changing the quality of your attention to what you already do. When drinking water in this way, take a deep breath. Relax your shoulders, perhaps sketch a slight inner smile. Use this moment as a silent reminder that peace is not in distant destinations or in great achievements, but in its ability to be entirely present in the simplest things. Philosophy teaches us that everything can be a way to consciousness when we do so with wholeness. Walk, eat, listen, and yes, even drink water. The master key is to be completely immersed in each action, uniting body, mind, and spirit. When this happens, mental noise decreases and fertile silence emerges. It is in this silence that the conscience of the now flourishes, and with it, a deep sense of peace. Over time, this deliberate attention will naturally expand to other areas of your life. You will begin to taste your food more depth, to listen to people with more empathy, react to challenges with more wisdom, and live every moment with a wealth that once went unnoticed. It all starts with these small, conscious gestures. The morning glass is a teacher who, without saying a single word, teaches him about presence, simplicity, and gratitude. Whenever you feel anxious, lost in thoughts, or overloaded during the day, use this practice as an anchor. Stop for a moment. Serve from a glass of water and drink it with full attention. This conscious pause has the power to reset its inner state. The mind slows down, the body thanks, and the heart reassures itself. True spiritual practice does not only reside in extraordinary acts, but in the way we infuse the sacred in the ordinary. By valuing each sip, you also cultivate a recognition of the abundance that surrounds you, strengthening joy and contentment. You see the beauty where there was only routine before. Water becomes more than hydration. It becomes a constant reminder of presence, an invitation to return to yourself, a sip of peace in the midst of chaos. And in doing so, you find that the greatest source of freedom is the ability to consciously live moment at moment. Music undergoes a slight change, becoming even more warm and inviting. This act of nourishing yourself, offering yourself the present of your own attention, is a path that we can go individually. But the journey becomes even richer and powerful when we share it, when we know we are not walking alone. If these words and this way of seeing the world resonate in your heart, we want to invite you to join our community, a space where we do not seek quick answers, but the depth of shared experience. And because we believe in the immense power of collective intention, we would like to propose something special. If you feel comfortable, share in the comments a request, a desire or intention that springs from your soul right now. It can be a healing request for someone you love, a desire for clarity for a decision you need to make, or simply a word of hope you would like to send to the world. Let's turn this space below the video into a positive power stream, a mosaic of good vibrations where each of us contributes and also nourishes. If this way of walking together makes sense to you, consider subscribing to the channel, not to become a follower but to become part of this circle, to ensure that our ways continue to cross and to strengthen our community that chooses serenity instead of haste. Third key, meditation in motion, rediscovering the floor under your feet. After hosting the stillness of the awakening and nourishing the body with the sacred sip of water, the invitation to the first movement emerges. It is at this point that the inner journey begins to externalize, to manifest itself in the physical world. Our first steps of the day are, in essence, the bridge between our internal universe of sensations and the external world of actions. And like previous practices, the way we take these first steps can define the rhythm of our entire journey. Modern society trained us to live with what could be called disease of destiny. Not only do we walk, we ran toward a goal. Our bodies move in one direction, but our minds are already far ahead, in the next commitment, at the next meeting, in the task that awaits us. The act of walking becomes a mere process, a mechanical and unconscious process to take us from point A to point B. We completely lose the richness of the journey, the beauty of the process. The third key for a serene morning is the cure for this disease, the practice of moving meditation. It is the invitation to unlear the hurry and rediscover the deep joy of simply being present at each step, feeling the firm ground that always sustains us. When you get up from bed or a chair, instead of hurrying toward your next goal, try it for a moment to slowly slow down. Feel, with a scientist's curiosity and the admiration of a child, the complex and wonderful process that is walking. Feel the exact moment the weight of your body transfers from one leg to another, a subtle and perfect swing. Feel the sole of your foot depressing the floor and then the heel of the other foot making the first contact, followed by the smooth rolling of the plant from the foot to the final pressure of the fingers. Each step is a symphony of tactile sensations, a silent dialogue between your body and the planet. You don't have to be in a Zen garden or a silent forest to practice this. The hallway of your home, the way from the room to the kitchen, becomes your private monastery. The ground under your feet turns into sacred soil, not for some magical quality inherent in it, but for the sacred quality of your attention. By bringing conscience to this act, you anchor your wandering mind in the here and now in an undeniably powerful way. Anxiety, which often resides in anticipation of the future, simply cannot survive when your attention is completely immersed in the feeling of your foot touching the floor. To deepen this practice, you can synchronize the movement with your breathing by turning your walk into a conscious dance. Let your breath dictate the rhythm, not the urgency of your thoughts. Inhale deeply as you take a step with your left foot. Expire long as it takes the next step with the right foot. Inhale, one step. Expire, another step. With this simple coordination, you weave an unbreakable union between body and mind. They stop operating as separate entities and flow into perfect harmony. The flow of obsessive thoughts begins to beyond. Internal agitation dissolves. You are no longer just moving through space. You are moving through the present moment with a whole that is deeply curative. This does not mean that you need to walk in slow motion all day. The practice is not about rigidity, but about flexibility and choice. It is about cultivating the ability to access this state of presence through movement whenever you need it. Throughout the day, you can find numerous opportunities for conscious micro-fins. The route from your desk to the coffee machine, the car's walk to the door, climbing from a staircase bid. Each of these moments is an invitation to return to yourself, to reconnect with your body and calm your mind. This practice of conscious walk is a potent antidote to the culture of impatience. She teaches us in a very visceral way to trust the natural rhythm of things, to abandon the need to force and hurry life. Each step has its own time, its own value, and the true beauty of the journey reveals itself only to those who are present to experience it. This is the essence of wisdom in action, living the now with a radical opening, with acceptance and without resistance. In times of greater stress, confusion, or irritability, conscious walk can be your most effective and affordable medicine. Instead of impulsively reacting to an emotional trigger, choose to move away for a moment. Find a small space and just walk. Breathe and walk. Feel your feet. This small range you create between the stimulus and your answer is where your freedom lies. It is in this space that wisdom has the chance to flourish, allowing you to respond to the situation with clarity and balance, rather than simply reacting with old automatic standards. The mind finds a safe haven at the rhythm of the footsteps, and the heart meets its center of gravity. By practicing meditation in motion, you also arouse your senses in an extraordinary way. You begin to notice the way air moves around you, the subtle variations of light and shadow in the environment, the sounds that were once just background noise. Life, which often seems monotonous and repetitive when lived on autopilot, reveals its infinite wealth and novelty when you simply slow and pay attention. With every conscious step, you break free from the strings of the past, from concerns about the future, the expectations that imprison it. You just walk. And in this gesture, which is at the same time the simplest and most fundamental of all, you discover something deep. The peace you seek so much is not somewhere in front of you, but you are right here, this exact step. And then in this one, and in this. Over time, this awareness cultivated in walking expands and permeates all other areas of your life. You become more present in your conversations, more attentive to your work, more aware of how your emotions move within you. Full attention grows, and with it compassion blooms. You start to treat yourself and others with more kindness and patience. Walking consciously is not an escape from life. On the contrary, it is the most direct and deep way to reunite it. When you walk like this, you come home to your true home, which is always here inside you, and there, in the rhythmic silence of your own steps, you discover that you have never been lost. You are, and always have been, exactly where you need to be. Fourth key, digital fasting, protecting the clarity of the morning mind. After arousing the body with stillness, nourished it with the water, and moved it with the presence, you reach a crucial point. You cultivated in the first few minutes of your day a state of clarity and serenity. Your mind is right now like a lake of crystal clear waters whose surface is calm and reflects the sky perfectly. The fourth key is not about doing something, but about actively protecting this precious state you just created. It is the practice of morning digital fasting. In our hyper-connected world, the most common gesture when awakening has become a hand to the cell phone. And in doing so, without realizing it, We invite a tsunami of information, demands, anxieties, and comparisons in that crystalline lake, clumping its waters instantly. News from the world, urgent emails, social networking notifications, messages that expect an answer. All this invades our inner sanctuary even before we had a chance to connect with ourselves. Buddhism and other philosophies of wisdom teach us the importance of keeping the gates of the senses, and the first portal to be kept in the morning is digital. Think of your mind when you wake up like a newly prepared garden with fertile earth ready to receive the seeds. The first information you consume is the first seeds you plant in this garden. If you plant the seeds of the indignation of a headline, anxiety of a working email, or the subtle envy of a social network post, the harvest of your day will be invariably stressed, reactivity, and dissatisfaction. However, if you choose to protect this soil and allow the first seeds to be those of silence, your own breath, the observation of the real world around you, you are cultivating a garden of peace, clarity, and balance that will flourish all day. Avoiding the screen in the first 30 minutes, or ideally in the first hour of the morning, is not an act of denial of technology, but an act of affirmation of your personal sovereignty. It is a statement that your agenda, your priorities, and your emotional state will be defined by you, not by an algorithm or the demand of others. It is you who decides the tone of your morning music. This interval you create, this screened sacred space, strengthens your mental autonomy in a way that few practices can. You are no longer a hostage to notifications and becomes the master of your attention. And attention, as we know, is the most precious good of the modern era. By preserving this moment of digital silence, you give yourself the opportunity to connect with what is truly essential: your body, your breath, your feelings, the people you live with. This space allows you to hear your own inner voice before you are bombarded by the voices of the world. Often the frantic pursuit of cell phone early on is an attempt to escape, an effort to fill a void, or to distract yourself from some internal discomfort. But by choosing to be with yourself, silently, kindly, you realize that there is nothing to run away. You can simply be present with whatever comes, and this ability to be with yourself is the true source of inner freedom. The first moments of your day can become a rich and significant ritual. Sitting in silence, writing a few lines in a diary, lengthening your body gently, watching the sunrise, preparing a hot drink with full attention, or simply looking out the window and seeing the world awakening. These are simple but deeply nutritious experiences that are stolen from us when we change them for the infinite scroll of a screen. Choosing digital silence is an act of courage in a world that glorifies constant occupation. The practice of full attention values a quiet and stable mind as the basis for a wise and compassionate life. When you start your day from a place of peace, this stability becomes your anchor. Even when the storms of the day arrive, there will be a firm base within which you can return. And this base is not conquered with haste or distraction. It is built through small, conscious choices, such as leaving the phone aside for a few more minutes. Over time, you will notice a subtle but deep change in your life. Less anxiety, more focus, less hurry, more presence. By slowing down at the beginning of the day, you gain immense clarity about your true intentions. Instead of being dragged by the external demands, you become the driver of your own pace. This is wisdom applied to every day, effortlessly, naturally. Even if you need to use your phone for something important, breathe before taking it. Do it with intention as a tool you choose to use, not as an automatic reflection. This small change in its relationship with the device transforms everything. It is the presence that infuses the common with the sacred, and it is this presence that we are invited to cultivate each morning as the greatest gesture of self-care and self-love. Fifth key, the breathing anchor, 3 portals for the now. Even before your feet touch the floor, while you still rest in the sanctuary of your bed, there is a primordial tool always at your disposal, the simplest and most powerful of all, your own breath. The 5th key is the practice of starting the day with 3 deep and intentional breaths. This is not a mere pulmonary exercise. It is a transition ritual, a conscious portal between the state of sleep and the state of full vigil. Inhale slowly and deeply through the nose, feeling the fresh air fill every corner of your lungs, imagining that it brings with it vital energy, clarity, and peace. Hold for a brief moment, feeling this fullness, and then Exhale gently through the mouth, with an audible sigh if desired, releasing not only the air but also any tension, worry, or a remnant of dream that may have remained. Repeat this cycle twice more. In the second breath, bring the intention of gratitude for another day of life. In the third, the intention to live the day that begins with presence and kindness. These 3 breaths are an anchor that signs your conscience at the present moment, a self-care gesture that takes less than a minute, but whose echo resonates for hours, calming the nervous system and preparing the mind for a balanced beginning. 6th key, the compass of intention, planting the seed of the day. With a clear mind and body awake, the 6th key is to give your day a direction. It is the act of choosing an inner compass and guide word that will serve as your emotional north. Before you get up, ask your heart, what do I need today? The answer can be a single word: patience, courage, listening, fluidity, happiness, acceptance. Choose the word that resonates with you the most at that moment. This word is not a goal to be achieved with effort, but a kind reminder, a seed you plant in the garden of your mind. Throughout the day, in times of challenge or distraction, you can silently return to that word. If your word is patience and you find yourself stuck in traffic, the word returns as a whisper, inviting you to breathe instead of reacting. If your word is courage and you face a difficult conversation, it emerges as a source of inner strength. Having a clear intention transforms you from a passive participant into a conscious co-creator of your daily experience. You start to sail the day on purpose instead of being simply taken by the current. 7th key, the reminder of impermanence, welcoming the flow of life. The 7th and last key is a philosophical reminder that brings immense freedom, the awareness of impermanence. When you start the day, gently remember that everything in life is in constant flow. The joys, the challenges, the feelings, the circumstances, everything comes and goes. This is not a pessimistic truth, but deeply liberating. When you remember impermanence, you cling less to good times, living them more fully in gratitude, knowing that they are precious and passenger. And crucially, you suffer less in difficult times, facing them with the wisdom that this will go. Pain loses its power to define us when we see it as a passing cloud, not as a permanent sky. This awareness dissolves rigidity, pride, and fear. It invites us to live more lightly, to forgive more easily, and to value every moment, for every moment is unique and unrepeatable. Starting the day with this reminder is like adjusting lenses through which you will see the world, changing the lens of fear and attachment to the lens of wisdom and acceptance. Background music becomes more present, evoking a sense of conclusion and hope. These 7 keys, conscious awakening, sacred hydration, moving meditation, digital fasting, the anchor of breathing, the intention of intent, and the reminder of impermanence, are not a list of tasks to be fulfilled. They are an invitation to turn your mornings into an act of self-love, into a consecration ritual. They intertwine to form a presence tapestry that can gradually reshape your entire life. By starting each day anchored in yourself, you discover a source of peace that does not depend on external circumstances. You become the safe haven amidst the storms of life. Our conversation today is coming to an end, but the journey this just started. True transformation happens in daily practice, in the repeated choice of honoring these first moments. If you have felt a call to continue to explore these paths, to keep back this serenity seed we planted today, I invite you warmly to subscribe to our channel. Your registration is not just one click, it is an act of intention. You are saying yes to your own journey of inner peace. By joining us, you no longer become a number on a screen, but a valued member of a community that chooses depth instead of hurry, consciousness rather than distraction. It will be an honor and joy to continue this walk by your side, exploring together the infinite ways of bringing more peace, wisdom, and meaning to our lives. May your mornings always be a portal for your deepest peace, and that your day flourishes beautifully from it. Until our next meeting.